I think we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Road Runners Unfiltered. It is your host, Darian Starling. Lots of UTSA stuff to talk about. Want to get into a lot of that. Obviously, going to get into a lot of your questions as well. There's a lot of transfer stuff going on and some interesting things going on around transfers, who's coming, who's going, and those sort of things. Um, Definitely want to get into that. Want to talk about the quarterback situation as well. I think that um I don't know. I have some thoughts about that. For those of you who are members, I gave some kind of quick thoughts on the members only content last week about us being in the market for general booty. So I'll talk about some of those as well, and we'll talk about who the face of the program is at this particular point in time, and are they going to be enough that's going to pack the dome? So, without further ado, I will begin and jump into some of those. Um, well, actually, wait. If you're new here, make sure you smash a like on the channel, or on this video, and subscribe to the channel. Also, membership content is or exclusive membership content is coming. Be sure to join as a member if you like that. Okay. And oh, nice. We got some comments already. So that's going to be nice. We'll get to those shortly. But I want to start out talking about the Road Runners basically at this particular point in time failing to come in and bring in another quarterback. I think, listen, I know we've talked about this for a while, right? We've been talking about this since last year of like, should we bring in another quarterback to come in and push these guys? And I gave you guys my thoughts after the spring game and what I've seen. And that I do think they need a guy to come in. But the problem that I have now, I understand that we are still in the market for a quarterback, and it's still it's still a possibility. And this is one thing I wanted to clarify because I had to understand this myself. The transfer portal closed on May the 1st, but that does not mean that transfers won't come in, right? That's just that little spring opening is just for players who want to enter the transfer portal, and they'll still be able to, transfer to schools all throughout the summer. So I'm sure that we're going to be active. I'm sure that at some point we may bring in a quarterback, but my problem with it is the timing. Now, you bring in a quarterback at a summertime whenever they weren't able to participate in spring camp. You really are in a situation now to where you're not going to bring a guy in the summer and expect him to be able to play games for you in a couple of months when the season starts, right? He's not going to have camaraderie with players. Then he's never been in pass with these folks. There's only so much that you can build in an off season running on air, running 7-on-7 and stuff like that as a quarterback. You need more time. You need reps with the coordinator. You need to understand the offense and absorb it and be in command of that offense so you can go in and you can be able to operate with flexibility, right? And I just don't see us being able to go get a quarterback and have them to come in and really compete. So that's why I titled the thumbnail of the video says basically no quarterback needed. I think the way we're looking at it is we don't need a quarterback. We're going to roll with the guys that we have, and they'll be the ones that determine our season. And I'm okay with that for the most part. I just think that it was a big letdown because when the coach comes out after the season and says, "Hey, we need to bring in a quarterback to come in and push these guys," and then we really don't get a quarterback within the time frame that we would like. To me, that says that the people he had on his board, he just wasn't able to get, whether that's NIL or those guys looked at the quarterback room right now and didn't think they were better than. That sucks. That's unfortunate. And it also shows, to me anyway, the NIL weakness that we have. Um, Obviously, quarterbacks are going to be your more expensive guys that's going to be in the portal, and we all know that. And um, it that just tells me that we weren't able to compete at all. We weren't able to compete at all because some of the guys that we lost out to when you look at those other programs and where the direction of some of those other programs and where they're headed and where we're headed from a UTSA standpoint, I think that you know, there's just a better opportunity here. And I don't know what those guys were promised, but I'm pretty sure we weren't able to promise them or make similar promises to some of these other guys. So that is pretty unfortunate. But it looks like we won't be in a quarterback. If we do bring in a quarterback, it's not somebody that's probably going to come in and start and that or compete for a start job. I shouldn't say come in and start because the guys that we have are not bad. I think they show promise. They have great arm talent, but I don't know. I'd really like to shake things up and bring some guys in. I'll start rolling through some of these questions here. Mike Mike came in early. He says, I just don't see anyone else coming in that will be better than what we have. The two QBs we have, the two QBs we have years in the system and experience with many of our receivers. That's true, and that's probably what Coach Traylor and staff are banking on. And I completely understand that take. I just think I just hadn't. I just want to see the levels. That's sort of the thing, and that's probably me being a spoiled fan myself at this particular point in time. But for me, the more competition, the better. The better we're going to get in terms of a final product on the field, and that to me is what I care about. I do think. I listen. I genuinely think either of the guys that we have right now, if they raise their level, if they show comfortability, um, I think they can go in and do really good things for us. I really, really believe that. I think they both have shown just really good talent. They both have they're both talented guys. But there's two things. There's two things right now that have me a little unsettled with that situation. Number one, and I know we still have a fall camp to go through, but number one, neither guy has separated themselves from one another. And to me, I've said this before in previous situations, whenever we've had quarterbacks years and years ago and what they were trying to figure out there. Even back, you could go back to some of Frank's early days when, Frank, when Frank was having some growing pains just as a young quarterback before he became the Frank Harris. One of the things I don't like is a quarterback having to look over their shoulder. And I think we're in this situation where you you won't get the full potential of a quarterback if he's worried about if I throw a bad pass, the backup or the next guy's going to come in. Like I want to be very clear about something. I love that both of these guys have come out and said, like, I don't look at this as a position battle and that sort of thing. Like, we're just here to support the team and all of that. We all get media training, guys. Like that's what they're supposed to say. But a psyche in football works, everybody is worried about they want to play. You come into a program, you want to play, right? And that's for any position. Quarterback, corner, receiver, lineman, whatever position, everybody wants snaps. Everybody wants snaps. They want to be the catalyst and a main and a key contributor to team success. That is your dream. That's what pushes people to get to the levels that they are. I just hope that we're not in a situation where you name the QB1, for game one, but then we're still telling the media, hey, but we could see we could see 1B, the other guy come in here or there too. Let's not be in that situation. I want guys to, whatever guy wins the battle, I want to make sure that they come in and have full confidence, full support, and can really take command of the team and drive us forward. I think that puts us in the best position. I have not seen many programs with two quarterback systems win or go very far. So just want to keep that. Just want to keep that. Want to keep that in mind. And my second point to that as well is, although we've seen flashes, we have not seen any. We haven't seen consistency, obviously, because they haven't been able to be in a position where they can show us consistency. But you know, it's it just takes time for people to get comfortable in different systems and yeah, we just got to be patient. We got to be patient. But I would like a veteran guy to come in and make sure that level is raised. Mike says, 1 second, I am getting a call that I'm going to have to ignore right now because we're live on the show. Mike says, I'm more concerned with our O line. It doesn't matter who is at starting quarterback or any of the three-headed monster running backs if we can't block. Health and depth will have me worried. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think one of the things we've seen early into the spring games, the D-line was having their way with our offensive line. And I think as the game went on, the offensive line started to play better, but they were getting whooped at first, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm concerned with the offensive line too. We got some new guys coming in. We lost some guys. We've been banged up on that offensive line for the last couple of years, to be honest. So yeah, no, the offensive line is going to be a big deal, especially this year because we're going to have that inexperience, right? So yeah, that's going to be important. My man Anthony says he's shouting out, "Hey, Roadrunner fans, what's up to my man ATX?" See, Anthony says, with our quarterback situation, I believe if we can eliminate those running back fumbles and keep the chains moving, this can help our momentum. No need to be losing the ball early in games and making it challenging. Yeah, that's going to be huge whenever the season starts. But I think turnovers and and stuff like that, shooting ourselves in the foot is going to be a really big deal. Just in general, right? But we're going to have things like that whenever you are bringing in new guys, especially at the quarterback position. So we just have to be prepared for that as folks who are watching and supporting the program. That type of stuff is going to happen. I'm just be honest with you. Like the run, but to your point about the running backs, they can't do that. Those guys are experienced. They are really good backs. They're really talented. We are going to lean on them a lot this upcoming season. And no, to your point, they should not be fumbling the ball. Mike says you bring up a great point. NIL will dictate how far we go in building the powerhouse program we all envision. You know what's an interesting thing? I'm so glad you brought that up, Mike. So, and this is I don't want to say, well, yeah, I can because I'm not sharing any names here. So there is some discourse amongst some of the folks around the program who are concerned at where the money is going in terms of some of the donations that we get, right? So like we've seen a lot recently that we've gotten a lot of donations and they're going to like, I think we just, and this is not the crap on basketball facilities or anything like that, but there's some folks who are supporters of, who are important supporters of the program who feel that, a lot of the money should be going to the football program because the football program will help bolster and bring everyone else up, every other sport up. And there is discourse around someone who is very important. I'm not going to say any names, but you guys, can take that for where you want to. There's someone who's very important who is not fully on board with the whole NIL way and how we do that. So it sort of works as a blocker a little bit on what we do with the money whenever we get some of these donations and how is it allocated. And one of the things that I think is there's not enough, in my opinion, promotion on the NIL side of things that we can redirect some of these donors who's giving us $5 million here, giving us $50 million here to do these projects. I know some of it's the city and all that other stuff, but there's other independent donors as well who donate a lot of money. And it's a lot of that is not going to, it's going to things that we need, like really good infrastructure and making sure that we have the facilities to be a team that can compete at the top of the AAC, because that goes, beyond just players and what people put out in terms of a sport product, but facilities and things like that needs to be on par with the top of the top. That part I get. We have to do that. But at the same time, if we do not, like, NIL is so important right now, we're not going to be able to keep the talent to maintain, right? To maintain a great sport product that whenever we go out and put that on the field and on the court and things like that and on the track, we don't have the NIL dollars to do that. Yes, from the without success in the field of play, right? All of that infrastructure and stuff, not saying it's for nothing, but like it's all for show at that point, right? You don't want to build all this stuff and not be winning. So at some point, we're going to have to sort of get with the NIL, and the leaders that be and the powers that be have to really start embracing this, like some of these other programs. And I mean, I'm seeing stuff in the news or on Twitter about how much Texas State is doing for their guys on the NIL front. And UTSA we're doing what we can, and I think we take care of people and stuff like that. But we can't be letting teams up the road, at least make more noise about what they're doing in NIL. So yeah, if to your point here, if we want to build a powerhouse program, everybody around the program, the main decision makers have to understand how important NIL is to that and be strategic at how we utilize our funds to make sure we allocate, or we are putting dollars where they are supposed to be put. I think that is hugely important. And like I said, if you notice, a lot of the big donations that's coming around, they're going to everywhere except the NIL, at least from what we can see. All right, let's move on to the next question. ATX says, do we really need a generational quarterback if Traylor and the coaches have built a good team around him? Frank was great, but he didn't become the guy to 2022 season. So yes, not generational quarterback is like we don't necessarily need another Frank Harris, right? We're not gonna see a player like that for a while. Probably he was that good. However, you do need a serviceable enough quarterback that can win you games and that can get the ball to the people that they do put around him, right? We're going to need that too. And going back to the NIL point, we're going to need to be able to get those guys and keep those guys who that will put around a quarterback. We'll need to keep those guys. So receivers, I'll say this too. When you talk about, like, do we need a generational quarterback or what caliber of quarterback we need? Look at it like this. If I'm a receiver and everybody's doing business in the transfer portal, right? We got like 3 receivers that transferred in. Receivers are not dummies. They're going to look and see who's throwing in the football before they come over here, right? They're going to look at, even if they're looking at high school tape, right? They're going to go look at who's possibly throwing in the football before they come here. If the better quarterback we have, the better receivers that we're going to attract. I can tell you that. So even good quarterbacks make linemen look good as well. It all works. That offense just works around a quarterback. So you want to have the best possible quarterback. I'm not necessarily saying that we must have someone who mirrors Frank Harris's performance next season. No. But to the extent that you can get a quarterback that's really good, I look at the 49ers. Like, the 49ers always have quarterback issues, and it always shows up in the biggest games, right? Because those guys around the 49ers pretty much get them there, because the quarterback play, like Shanahan in San Francisco, he doesn't care much about having a great quarterback. In fact, he prefers to not have a great quarterback because he's the one pulling the strings, because his play calling is so good and he knows how to make things easy on a quarterback with simple throws and getting the ball to his playmakers in space. But it always bites you whenever you play the elite of the elite. Even you can make it even to the Super Bowl to that, but there's quarterback play is always going to be a topic of discussion, and the teams and good defenses are always going to find a way to make the quarterback beat you at times. and we've had a quarterback that can beat you. We've had that benefit, and we've put banners up, and we've won bowl game with that, right? Or we've been in a position to win a bowl game with that. So yeah, we don't have to have one, but it'd be nice. Anthony says, in addition, if we can eliminate overall the turnovers and penalties while giving our quarterback protection, we can put ourselves in a good position. Play fundamental ball and protect the ball will be key. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that's the name of the game in general. Hard to do though. Hard to do. Hard to do. Ivan Hio says, love your show, man. Keep up the amazing work. Are you excited for the new NCAA game? First off, appreciate you for being here, brother. Appreciate the kind words and yeah, glad you're here. But am I excited for the NCAA game? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I'll definitely be on the game quite a bit. Anybody who knows me knows I love getting on the PS5 and playing games. So I'm absolutely excited for the NCAA game. Let's see. Mike says the season can't come soon enough. Don't forget about the NIL event scheduled this month. Great way to support the program. Yeah, that's a big one. I think I need to look into some of that. I wouldn't mind going to one of them. I think someone had mentioned me in attending one of them, one of those things. I'd like to understand more though, seriously, from some of the folks from the NIL. I know I had April on. I talked to Frank about it a little bit too, but I feel like that space is evolving so much. It'll be obviously they need people's money, right? That's what it comes down to. But it would be great for them to sort of get the story out as much as they can, so people can, because people make, especially with money, every decision we make with money is emotional, right? That's just what it is, and I think it'll be great to hear. It'll be great to hear more about the story, you know, background details of what they go through, their challenges, what they're trying to do for the program. Hear just more about them personally and why they donate and why they set up those collectives and things like that. I think that stuff would be good to hear. But yeah, let's see. B said the team will decide the quarterback. The team will decide the quarterback. Okay, I don't. I'd like some more context there. They're gonna have like a vote or something. My man John Simmons, what's good, bro? I haven't talked to you in ages. Hope all is well, brother. Former teammate, guys. Show my man some love here. But he says, along the lines of QB, shout out to the first ever QB, Eric Sosa, being named AD and head football coach at Rockport Fulton High School this week. Absolutely. Shout out to my man Sosa, man. That was my QB there. Shout out to Sosa. That's a huge thing. And shout out to all the coaches, all the guys who've become coaches. Shout out to John himself. John is doing a good job of what he's doing as well. But shout out to all of the guys, man. Nate Shaw, just got a head coaching gig, I believe. Mo Sanchez is doing this thing coaching. I mean, there's just a lot of guys. Nate Leonard. I don't want to forget everybody, but name them all. I know there's a lot of guys from my class that's out there coaching and doing their thing. I love to see some of those guys back. I know we got Parker Cundiff is back at UTSA on the staff as well. But yeah, it'd be great to see. So it would be so tight to see like one of the guys like get a big position on the staff. That'll be huge, and I'm sure that's coming at some point. Shout out to Simmons though. Agree with John. Big congrats to Souza, of course. ATX says it's Coach Traylor's birthday. Go donate some NIL money and tag it for football only. Shout out to you for playing some marketing to the NIL folks. Absolutely, guys. Everybody going to do that. Let's see. 512 Scott B. He says O-line is the deepest it's been in program history, probably the most talented we've had across the board in UTSA history. We are in a good spot. QB doesn't have to be generational. He just has to be solid. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But if we can get generational play, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? It'd be awesome. ATX says Texas State is unapologetically dumping money into NIL with their Maroon and Gold collective, and they're listing who they signed deals with. It feels like our NIL programs have been quiet recently. That's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily think they're quiet because Pat Pat and April are all over Twitter, so I can't say they're quiet. Um, that is not the case at all. I think they're doing something with helmets and heels or something like that. An event or something like that coming up. So I don't think they've been quiet. I just think in general, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. I don't feel like they've been quiet. I just don't know if you know what it is. I don't know if any of our NIL collectives. Yeah, because I see Frank everywhere. Frank has been on a press tour since he left since he left the school since he left the school, and a lot of it is 210, his 210 inspired stuff. But like, I don't know if it's them being quiet, but I go back to the story. I go back to like, I don't know. It's just it's something missing from that whole thing, in my opinion. Something is missing. Something is missing on that. Maybe the marketing needs to be a little different on their side. Because you got to think about it. Like, I'm sure they want to keep overhead as low as possible, so they can, the money that's coming in or the money they have, they can spend the vast majority of it on, helping the coach out with the NIL themselves. But like, I do think that there may could be maybe a different approach to get folks really into it. I'd be interested to like see the growth from or to hear from them on the growth of like how they're doing in terms of do they share that information? I'm gonna look really quick. How much I'm gonna go to like I'm curious to see like how or how much are they sharing things like, oh, you know we have this many people contributing, and this is 10% increase year over year or month over month or something like that. It'd be good to hear some of that. I would like to hear some of that as well if we could. I don't know. I don't see anything that's like readily available, but I think that we'll see. Aeneas, I'll be handing him his first L in NCAA as well. You can try it, brother, but I don't think that's happening. Pat Foy says Coach Traylor has been vocal about not quote unquote giving the starting quarterback position away to someone on the portal. How do we know these other schools are giving empty promises and it's not just money? Coach Traylor has been vocal about not giving the starting quarterback position away to someone in the portal. Well, when has he said this? Because I don't think there would be the situation. If he said this recently, yeah, there's some context behind that to where it's like, yeah, probably not now. That's what I was talking about with timing, right? Like, yeah, you wouldn't do that now. Like, you can't bring somebody in now who didn't play with the team in the spring and say this person's going to start. Like, it's not happening. I go back to what the title of the video. Should we bring a quarterback in this late? Probably not to start. So yeah, and then he says, "How do we know these other schools are giving empty promises and it's just money?" They are. Like, all of this stuff is a lie. Like, a lot of it's a lie. I won't say all of it, but like you can guarantee only so much to some of these folks. 'Cause what if they go in and they're not good and they're not going to play? Well, how do you know a company is going to want to give them money to market, right? Like, just imagine if you're a quarterback that comes in and they think you're going to start, and all these companies are lining up to make you be the face of their branding, and then you end up not starting or and not playing. Well, those people, unless like they can just say, you know what, I don't want to work with this player. Let's work with the actual starting quarterback and go. So that $100,000, $200,000 you were promised, you're not going to get it. So like a lot of it is empty promises, to be honest. For more context, the team deciding QB, I believe the competition will be won by who steps up as a leader. Right now, it's a toss up. Both guys can be great. Step up as a leader is one thing, but who's going to play better at the end of the day? That's what is really, really going to come down to. Who's playing better in practice? Who's doing better in camp? That's what's going to be most prominent, in my opinion. So we'll see. I mean, they got to be a leader as well, but who does Coach Traylor trust in terms of putting points on the board? We'll just have to wait and see. Mike says, in a recent interview, Frank stated he resigned his position with the NIL group. No reason given, but he did say he will continue to support. Whoa. Why did I miss this? Whoa. Why did I miss this? Does anybody have any more context other than this? Whoa. It's funny. I would like to just reach out and ask him, but just because we did a show together doesn't mean that I got the inside track like that. So I'm not. That's interesting. Maybe he wanted to do something else. Or listen, I'll tell you this. Or maybe he looked at what his role was and was like, yeah, no, not doing all of that. That's interesting. That's really, really interesting. I like to figure out what that was about. That's interesting there. That's interesting. Let's see. Let me rephrase my last post. The UTSA's NILs aren't quiet, but it seems like Texas State marketing is better. Exactly. They sold that they signed deals with 20 players. That's tangible results to point at. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, so to be fair, if you go to all these websites from like these NIL collectives, they do have the players that they sign. They're doing deals with. They do have the players listed on their websites, but I don't know, like, who goes, like, think about it. Who's going to go to the website and just go and look at that list? I'm probably not, unless I'm on doing this show and trying to get that information for y'all. What's up, Barton? But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know. I hate saying Texas State does anything better than us, but the NIL marketing just seems like, here's the thing. I feel like I see more Texas State NIL stuff than I do UTSA's on Twitter, and I follow no Texas State people. That'll tell you something, right? That'll tell you something. Okay, I think I'm all caught up on comments. Yeah, get your comments in while we're still live. I got one other topic. Unless we don't have any more comments here. Well, one other topic is the face of the program, and because I got a question last week, and it made me just think about this. And what I was thinking about is, like, somebody was asking about the Alamodome, and do I think the first few games will be packed? And I think my answer to that question was somewhere along the lines of like, they probably won't be until there's a face of the program or something like that. But one of the things I started noticing, and it's an obvious thing, right? Of who UTSA, like the angle UTSA is playing right now. The angle they're playing is Coach Traylor. It's not the way it was before. It was Frank Harris. It was one of the receivers. It was Rashad Wisdom, and that whole bit. They had been the face of the program alongside Coach Traylor. They've been the faces of the program for the last three seasons, and now it's just Coach Traylor. Just think about it. Every UTSA, everything is Coach Traylor centric at this point. Like more than it has been. He's doing first pitches. He's making appearances at games. He's doing these little quick commercials and cameos. He's going on podcast shows and radio shows. These are things he always does. Don't get me wrong. But to me, it stands out a lot more because we're not seeing players actively doing a lot of that stuff as much as we did whenever we had Frank and Rashad doing some of this stuff. That's interesting. And it made me think like, is Coach Traylor, I think he is, first off, but like sometimes there are coaches that there are coaches that are so good at galvanizing a group of people. And sometimes that can be infused throughout the fan base and throughout the support. And making him the focal point at this particular time it is not super I mean, I don't know. You do have some programs who are like that, but like he himself could be the reason people come to the games and early in the season because they believe in him. I don't know exactly what the feel is in San Antonio on that, but I just started thinking like, you know what? I think it is intentional that they're leaning into Coach Traylor's face being plastered everywhere because he has shown the type of character, the type of kid, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Um, Charisma. That's what I'm looking for. He's shown the type of charisma and stuff also to kind of be that guy, to be him. It was just funny, like some guys that I know out here in Austin seen him on a golf course. They were taking pictures and things like that. And everybody who meets him says he seems like a really nice guy and he's likable. He's, and he was also telling me people were just swarming him right while he was there. I do think that right there will play on the mind of a coach as well. I think it is a smart move from UTSA in general to do that because when a coach holds that type of weight on a program and in a city, he might stay for longer. But as that translates to will that put butts in seats at the Alamodome? I don't know, but I think we'll find out. I think we'll find out. Like whatever we see in the beginning of the season, I think it's all going to be, based on him and the belief that the city has in him. And that's pretty interesting to me. It's an interesting thing. Texas State is trying to get that victory this season, and they're looking to pack the house because they know we will travel up the road. Texas State ain't getting that victory. I don't care who we got at QB, or I don't care what the situation is. They ain't getting that victory. ATX says Traylor has stated in an interview that he wants Oscar to be the leader of the offense. Yeah, I think yeah, I think that couldn't happen, but he's gonna have to throw the ball to Oscar more than he did last year. Um, I think he can be a leader. I think he will likely be the leader of the offense and just the leader in general, right? Because he's, the most tenured guy on the offense and that sort of thing. But if we're talking about face of the program or anything like that, he can be, but got to give Oscar the ball a little bit more. Let's see. I do like the coach being the face, let the athletes be athletes. I like that too, but the athletes sell tickets also because people want to see those guys go out there and make big plays. But I think the coach being the face could be a very, very good thing too. I'm telling you, I really do. He says, we love Traylor, hope he stays for decades. So do I. Shout out to Angela. Member. She says he's Mr. 210. Yeah, I think he is. I think he is, and I think it's starting to show, and I think UTSA is getting behind that. Carol says, I'm a member of the Runners Rising NIL Collective. This collective is extremely transparent. So I do think the collectives are transparent. Because Runners Rising, if I'm not mistaken, got a really good website. A really, really good website. And I think that's you know what? I can just go look at it. I think I have it pulled up. Yep. Yeah. They have a really good website, and there is a really big piece on transparency. And that's sort of what I mean, right? It's like um when I go on the website, there is a lot, in my opinion, there's a lot of information there, and I think the transparency there is really good, right? But what I'm more so talking about, at least for me, this is just for me, is that like I feel like a lot of these Twitter is kind of it's easy to kind of read where the fan base is based on what you see on Twitter. I think we don't. I think a lot of us would agree with that. It's not necessarily about transparency from me. It's more about like marketing, the story behind it, and things like that. Like I said before, I've heard way more information that I want to hear about San Marcos's or Texas State's NIL collective than what I've heard about ours. And I've had folks on the show, which in those shows I heard a ton about it, and that was great. But like in the little forum that we all live in, that is called UTSA Twitter, I don't know. I would like. I don't know. This could also be just me and some of the folks in this chat. I just want to. I just want to outdo Texas State with that, I guess, and other folks. To be honest, making the coach the face of the program is a viable option. Look at Texas State. JG Kinney is the face of their program. Absolutely. Anthony says, do you believe teams will focus on Oscar more and put more eyes on him, or let him earn the double team, knowing he is one of the key players will attempt to get rolling early in games? I don't know if he'll be a key person that will attempt to get rolling early in games, because they didn't target him a lot last year. He was a safety blanket on third downs a lot of the times, and he made some really big catches for us. But in terms of someone that's getting 7, 8, targets a game, he has not really gotten that. That's probably going to be your JJ Sparkmans, your Devin McEwens, and a lot of those guys that we've seen really show out in the spring game. Those guys' success on the outside is going to open things up for Oscar. And it's going to give him a little bit more room to work the middle of the field and to work the sticks and things like that. And even up the seam, Oscar's really good at catching that seam ball. So, in my opinion, but let's say teams were to focus and double Oscar, I just think with the speed we have on the outside and some of the, what I do know about our quarterbacks, they both have arms. That wouldn't be a smart thing for them to do, is to double the underneath guy and leave those corners out there on the island with that speed that we have. That'd be not a great defensive tactic for opposing teams. They shouldn't do that if they know what's best for them. Well, no, I do have one more topic too. Just want to shout out to the guys who got into the NFL on those undrafted. We had a few guys go undrafted. I want to make sure I call them all out, because that to me is always big. Undrafted. I want to get a list because I don't want to miss anybody. So we had Joshua Cephas, undrafted free agent deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is good. Rashad Wisdom to Tampa Bay. Defensive tackle Brandon Matterson to Denver. We have, I think it is Tyke Ogle-Kellogg. We have him. He has a was he a free agent signing, or was he a camp invite? He got a camp invite to the Washington Commanders. We got a camp invite for Lucas Dean, our punter, for the New York Giants, and then Tremaine Bell, the second, camp invite to the New Orleans Saints. I wanted to shout out everybody, all of those guys, just individually, because man, that stuff is hard, and that journey is going to be tough getting in the way that they get in. The free agent signings, keep an eye on those guys. Keep an eye on the camp guys too, man. Like you just never know. Like a lot of people look at some of that stuff as a long shot, and it is. Like let's be very honest about that. It is, but I would just encourage everybody to give those guys your support whenever you can, or and that could be with a like or a kind note on Twitter or something, to give them guys, to help just give them positive energy. That stuff is a grind, man. I've had a lot of friends go through that process, and there's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, there's success stories, there's sad stories and things like that, but they're embarking on some difficult stuff. And a lot of people look at those situations and they, you just kind of think like, oh my God, these guys are getting a shot at the NFL. It's great. They're rich now, money and all this type of stuff. And yeah, in some cases that does happen. In some scenarios, that's the case. But in some cases, it doesn't happen, and it sets guys back for a couple years, because they are, it may not work here, but they're going to try next year and that sort of thing. So a lot of those guys are going or are embarking on a treacherous journey, and I wish all of those guys the best of luck. But yeah, I think I'll wrap here at 40 something minutes. Good show. Make sure you guys smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, join as a member. We got members content. Got some content coming tomorrow. Members only. So shout out to all the members out there. Thank you guys for being members. And if you would like to join as a member, go to the channel and do so. That will be excellent. But with that, I am signing off. I will check in and talk to you guys throughout the next week. See you guys next week, Wednesday. Peace.